Alright, time for another draftphysics.com, debatephysics.com also, but as stated, can't solicit the debate in any form. You can be as polite, you can do rude, you can do challenge, you can do how much do I have to pay you, and they still won't show up. They're such hypocrites. And the fact that you support all this hypocrisy, you commoners, you know nothings, it's just so despicable. So this was kind of funny. So in all seriousness, I said, right? If you can take anything serious, how much would I have to pay you to make a video titled something like "Proof that 1/2 VMV isn't as dumb as flat Earth"? Now, don't you think somebody should make the video? Don't you think somebody should actually say, here's the formula and here's why we know it's the truth? Nobody's made those videos, okay? They've made videos where they show you their little special cart, little experiment, or one little experiment, and it's all very carefully done to preserve their fable, but it isn't good physics. All right. So this guy says, I'm a theoretical physicist. Now, there's just no chance, right? He's got like Father Christmas as an icon. Explain what is so dumb about the formula in your opinion. So I did 4 videos titled that. And this moron sits there and what do you want? You want me to personally instruct you? Amazing. Just amazing tripe. All right, so the McToon guy said to my challenge, my only payment is in the evidence. Now, what the hell is that, right? You're telling him, please, show me your evidence. Don't be a hypocrite. You say the earth is flat. Well, go ahead, prove it, fuckhead. And they won't do it. All right. So I said, is English your third language or something? You are being asked to produce some kind of evidence supporting your dogmatic religious declarations regarding what is real. You're saying this crap is real. It can't be collected, as I keep pointing out. There's no experiment where you collect this crap. None. There's 0 experiments where they collect this frickin' extra energy. All right. You won't produce any evidence when simply challenged to do so. The question is, will you produce evidence if you're fairly paid to do so? And the answer clearly is no. So because they can't. And they don't care. So they're just such cowards. I mean, pathetic cowards. And you fucking morons support these fucking cowards. It's just amazing. So this bulb head jackass. Sorry. He's posted a whole bunch of comments. So no response to any of the arguments I've made. So no explanation for how the lever is lying. Because the lever says completely different ratios of velocity and mass are equal than what kinetic energy says. The two things don't agree at all. So as soon as you put a different mass on a lever at different positions, kinetic energy and momentum part company, and clearly the lever says it's all momentum. There's no such thing as kinetic energy. And your response is nothing. Except this crap where you say, well, here's what's wrong with your No, that's not the point. That can be a subject. I'm just saying, if you're going to not be a hypocrite or duplicitous little weasel, you have to actually answer some of my questions. Okay. So, because I'll answer yours, but you don't answer any of mine. You can't see how you're duplicitous? All right. So you're saying that when an object falls in gravity, it gains more energy per unit of distance when it falls slower. It doesn't gain energy per distance anyway, so that's just nonsense. But obviously when it falls slower, whatever falling slower is, right? How do you make something fall slower? Oh, you have to stop it from falling. Yes, the longer it's in the gravity, the more energy it will collect. It's a time-dependent force. It's raining. The rain falls in the bucket. If the bucket's in the rain longer, it's going to collect more rain in the bucket, more energy, more force pushing. Sunlight. If, yes, you're in the sun longer, you're going to get more tanned. Okay? Fact. All right. That's free energy. How is it free? The point is you have to be able to collect it. So this goes back to Galileo, okay, and the ramps. So what are you doing when you do the ramp thing? Okay, well, maybe I'll read more of this. All right, if you stop an object several times during the fall, preventing it from reaching high velocities, preventing it from acquiring, yes, getting through the gravity faster, okay, and collect the energy each time, you could use that energy to lift an object. So that's the question. Can you use it? Can you create a mechanism where you can lift an object 1 unit of distance at the same efficiency that you can lift 2 objects 4 times the distance? And the answer, I would say, is obviously no, you can't. I mean, I could use 2,000 miles an hour. I could launch something at 2,000 miles an hour. Put it in a cyclotron and launch it. 2,000 miles an hour. Huge efficiency in terms of getting through the gravity. But the fact is I can't lift something 1 foot going 2,000 miles an hour because I can't slow down. Can't stop without using 2,000 joules of energy to stop. So you have to understand that you're saying that you're going to restore something to a 1 foot position with the energy you use from shooting something 4 feet. But the problem with that theory is, is that you can't possibly lift something at that high speed efficiently because you have to use your brakes. If you're going too fast, you go higher than 1 foot. So you can't use the same velocity efficiency. I'll draw a picture of it. Preventing from reaching high velocities and collecting energy, you could use that energy to lift an object even higher and then repeat. The catch is you can't. Okay. You could lift the object higher and collect more and more extra energy. Well, you really can't because you can't lift it in increments. You can't lift things small distances at the same efficiency that which you can lift them high distances. So, yeah, I think that's simple enough. I can't fly a plane in any way through gravity at 300 miles an hour and gain the same efficiency I'd gain by launching it at 4,000 miles an hour. All right, so let's draw the picture. So let's go back all the way back to Galileo. All right, and the ramps. And, this is something, I noticed this years ago. Okay, so the ramp is doing what? Okay, so let's understand that if I drop something, it takes a certain amount of time. And clearly, if I put it on a ramp, it's not going to fall the same distance in the same time. It's going to be time plus. So even though it's going to be going this way, at the same velocity, this will be going this way, right? This v will equal this v. The fact is these times won't be equal because that's the price of converting down into sideways. In this case, it costs you something. It's not for free turning around. So the simple truth is just think of it as a thermodynamic question. What's the thermodynamics of the 2 falls? And you can clearly see that the thermodynamics here is going to be the same as the thermodynamics here in terms of the velocity. So the actual linear momentum, that mv, is going to be equal. So your thermodynamics are equal. You have an object moving 10 miles an hour, you have an object moving 10 miles an hour. It doesn't matter which direction if you're looking at thermodynamically. But clearly in the case of the ramp, you can understand that you've also heated the ramp. Okay, so clearly slowing it down, time plus, clearly had more energy because you put energy into the ramp. No way to avoid it. It's just like going down the ramp isn't any different than flat friction. It's not like you get less friction. It's just that you're allowed to move more freely, but the friction is still there. So it's not like you got no friction when you're going down a ramp. You got plenty of it. That's why it took more time. That's why it's time plus, is because you had friction. All right, so a second way to think about it is when they do their little, this is the classic fake experiments they do. And they are, I'm telling you, they're fake. This is what Joule did, and this is why Joule got confusing answers, is because they drop a weight and they assume the weight is the same energy no matter how fast it falls. And no, it makes a huge difference how fast it falls. And so let's say I want to make it fall as slow as possible. So I want to take time and make it like 5 times. Okay, 5 times the time, all right, of the free fall rate. So then I had to put on something here that's pretty heavy, all right? It has to be a pretty heavy weight to slow it down by 5 times. And it's still going to hit the ground with some momentum. So we know some of the mv is still going to be here. It's going to, the velocity is going to be a minus now. It's going to be mv minus when it hits the ground, because it's going to be way short of the velocity it would have if it was free falling. But it's still going to be energy into the ground. You're still going to hit here and waste some energy here. Okay, but the real waste, you know, is here at the pulley, and certainly here at the cart. So if I have a heavy cart, we know it's a lot of weight, it's a lot of friction. So we're losing a lot of energy to this friction. So even though we've slowed how fast it falls by 5 times, it's 5 times the gravitational force, technically. Yeah, it's all going to the wrong place. It's going into friction, because you have to have this pretty heavy to cause this to move that slow. So I could put a feather on here and move this a little tiny bit slower, and there'd be a little tiny bit of friction. So no matter what I do here, I can't win, because to have more time, I have to pull more weight, which means I have to create more friction. So I can't win. So unless you do it in space, you're fucked. Okay. All right. Look, it's a reasonable argument. Now, Piro brought it up. But the point is there's an answer, and you have answered none of the points I made. I made 4 videos full of points. Doesn't take 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast. I mean, as soon as you concede that fact, you're in big trouble, aren't you? It's a theoretical requirement of the theory that it take 25 times the fuel. And you're just playing a game, pretending you don't have to account for the fact that the theory doesn't match reality at all, not even close. It doesn't take 6 times or 7 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast. No, it takes 5 times the fuel. So, keep cheating. I mean, is that all you people can do is cheat? You just keep cheating me and keep pretending you're honorable people, and you're just cheating every frickin' argument that's made. Oh, Ryan Gosling, speaking of cheaters. Oh, he's just so stupid. So now he's trying to engineer an experiment where he can force the 5-ton train to somehow win the tug of war. So, because he found out it doesn't work, right? Oh, yeah, well, it's true. The 5-ton train has no evidence of being got twice the energy. You can't collect the energy once again. So you crash a 5 mass going 10V into a 10 mass going 5V, and there's no evidence of the extra kinetic energy. No fenders get crushed, no anything happens to indicate it has twice the energy. Everything indicates it has exactly the same energy, and again, it's just another experiment where they'll try to force it to fit. They'll try to ram it and cram it into their image of reality. So that's what he's in the process of doing. All right, anyway. Analytic sentient. Lack of intellectual humility. This isn't really about humility. I don't care. I don't want people to be humble. I just want them to be accountable. So there's a lack of accountability. I say bold things, and I show up to defend what I say. They don't. And that's the clear truth. They won't defend their shit. They say shit and run. That's the simple truth. They insult you and run. Okay. Your voice is similar to William Dafoe. I don't know. A lot of people do this comparison thing. They say I look like or sound like. Well, whatever. It's not my fault. I'll tell you that. I don't know Eminem was a math genius. I'm clearly not a math genius. I'm what I've always been, which is a nice, sensible, rational person who's pretty good at finding flaws in models. Looking at a picture and seeing what's broken. I remember doing it at the dentist when I was a little kid. Hated dentists. Oh, always bad news. Bad teeth. I have terrible teeth. Anyway, and they had these books, you know, whatever, for reading while you hear other people screaming. And, you know, it's all these pictures where you had to find the monkey in the tree or the elephant with no trunk or something. You know, you had to find something in the image that was broken. And, yeah, I was good at it. Anyway. All right, P equals momentum. So this is just the typical mathematical lies. All right, so it's just clear. This is what, you know, Newton didn't play your distance, time bullshit. He didn't do any of that crap. Okay, this is Newton's conceptualization of the second law, which basically just says the force is proportional to the momentum. That's what it says. All right, force equals the change in your momentum over time. And the time could be 1 hour, 1 month, 1 year, and then you would have your force per unit of time, 9.8 meters, for example, per second. That would be the force. All right, no per second squared, just 9.8 meters per 1 unit of seconds. Okay, 1 second. That's what you get. That's the sensible math, the non-liar math. All right, and if you want the net force, if the net force is what you're after, well, the net force would be 1 unit of time, the net total time. So that's irrelevant. It's a 1, okay? And so it's just the change in your momentum. We know that that's what Newton believed, and you can lie all you want. I can't stop you from being pathetic, horrible liars about a dead man. But that's how Newton understood it. He didn't understand it as F equals ma, and he certainly didn't think a was some sort of distance over time crap. He thought it was a velocity. It was an explicit number. It wasn't some sort of anything else. It was a certain amount of velocity, period. Okay? It wasn't a fucking equation. So you play your little game, putting your seconds in, and again, you know the seconds. If you put 9.8 meters per second, you know it's a 1. 1 second times 1 second is 1 second. It isn't second squared. So that's your lie, is that when you put the units in, you don't put the 1 in front of them. You can't square the units by merely multiplying a unit times a unit. It's not seconds. It's a second, 1 second. All right, liars, liar, liar, liar. Okay, anyway, well, we're not going to do math. Okay. T1, yeah, well, fuck you. All right. What's your definition of force? So this is so ridiculous. Why are you wasting my time? I mean, really, you know, you make thousands of videos and some guy shows up and says, please, you know, do all your videos over for me personally. So pathetic. Yeah, mass times velocity equals momentum. Duh. I mean, the fact that people can't even figure out that right now there's an energy duality. And if you give it any kind of thought at all, you can figure out, oh yeah, it's a real duality. You know, anytime I try to take the energy from object that weighs 1 mass and I try to put it in an object that weighs 2 mass, I'm going to have a problem because I can't conserve momentum and conserve kinetic energy. It's not going to happen. All right, anyway, because then, of course, the energy equation based on force equals mass times acceleration won't hold. And it's not Newton's equation, again. It would be fine if acceleration was just a velocity. So if you just said it honestly, 9.8 meters per second, per 1 second, if you wrote it correctly, if you thought of it correctly, it's not a problem. But that's not what you're doing. Because you're fibbers. All right, the earth science is too retarded for words. At around 10-minute mark, you were wrong. You claim the gun will offer different energy depending on the projectile. I said your theory says that. That's what physicist Michael proved, essentially. All I have to do is put lighter objects on a spring, and I get more energy. And I put heavier objects on, and I get less energy. I think it was exactly the opposite, but anyway. That's your theory, not my theory. Okay, moron. Okay, such as 10x the energy for for a lighter projectile. Clearly, the gun is showing it to you. It's saying, look, we know it's equal and opposite. So we know somehow I only have 2 joules going out one side and I have 2,000 going out the other side by your theory. So clearly the same explosion produced 2 radically different results. Moron. Okay. This is incorrect. In theory, the gun will offer the same amount of energy regardless of the projectile weight. Well, no, it's not anybody's theory. That's no one's theory. So you're not going to win with that. You can't explain a gun by that statement. Clearly a disproportional amount of energy leaves the gun, moron. And clearly physicist Michael did the experiment. Same spring, 2 carts, and he got different momentums in the 2 different experiments. Now I'd argue he got different momentums because the carts have metal wheels and metal axles and they're made out of plastic, and the whole thing is a rig. Because all the energy, or a big part of it, is in the angular rotation of the axles and the wheel. And so you're not really seeing the total energy of the cart. You're seeing a portion of its energy that's not caught up in the angular rotation. Energy is force times distance, says you stupid cunt. Okay. While you may find real-life examples of projectile weights, so there's no any evidence here, influence gun energy. While you may find real-life examples of projectile weights influencing gun energy, you're just pointing out, well, you will find that nothing I said is true because in real life it doesn't happen. The simplified model suggests the energy should remain the same. Well, again, it doesn't, so just keep lying some more. Okay, overall, though, I mean, the momentum, quit saying the word energy as if it means anything. Clearly, the kinetic energy will be dramatically different depending on what weight I put on. I put a heavy weight, I'm going to get almost no energy. I put a light weight, I'm going to get extraordinary amounts of energy. Overall, though, I believe the energy does not exist and it is a human construct. So you're too crazy. Flat earther. He doesn't believe energy exists. Jesus fucking Christ. Why did I waste my time on that? Oh, God, these people are so insufferable. So mortosis or something. Mortose. Watch Professor Day's video. So I've watched all of them. I've played them on my channel and I've pointed out how they're big fakes and phonies. So in none of those videos will they ever show you, well, there was deformation and there was heat and there was sound and there was all kinds of energy flew out of the experiment. It was a tremendous amount. Yeah, I almost burned my house down. No, it didn't happen. The ballistic, again, you can just go back to the ballistic pendulum. Stick a thermometer in the ballistic pendulum and show me 2,000 joules of energy. It's not that complicated, right? Never done. All right. TTDR, fuck you. You have an elastic collision and kinetic energy is not conserved due to the friction between the objects as a result of the merging. So again, you're saying it, there's, what the fuck? All right, back doors. Anyway, merging, which will heat up and deform the 2 objects after the collision until their speed equalizes. So this is all just made up nonsense. So you can do the experiment with the 5 mass carts and you can add the mass so gracefully. Again, you could use water, use all kinds of different ways of doing it, and you're not going to demonstrate this silly crap that half the energy disappears in some sort of energy that we can't detect. Alright, so it's just bullshit. As soon as you turn that energy into momentum, which heat is anyway, I mean, you people not even understanding heat is momentum. So you conserve 100%. Is that right? I do the experiment. Boom, boom. I conserve 100% of the momentum over here. And somehow in this process, there's another half of the momentum. Somehow there's another 50% of the momentum is right. Still here. I can collect it again. No, you can't collect it twice. Oh, you people are just such nonsense talkers. Let's see, you replied to my comment, but when some reason it disappeared. I don't know if it was YouTube or you have deleted. I couldn't read it entirely. Let's see what he says to him. Yes, I wrote a previous comment, deleted because it was wrong. Initially, I assumed incorrectly that the conservation of energy applied So again, we know the conservation of energy has to apply because even people like Feynman and Professor Lewin say you have to conserve these things. The catch is that quite obviously there's a whole class of experiments where it's impossible to conserve both. So that's just a giveaway. One of these theories has to be right and one of them has to be wrong. They're not compatible notions of reality. mv doesn't equal 1/2 mv squared, okay? They can't be forced to be conserved. They actually do that, okay? When they weighed took the mass of the electron, they actually basically just said mv equals 1/2 mv squared. That was the equation they derived into nonsense. Anyway, just like you do in your video. So I don't know who you're talking to. This guy doesn't make videos. In that case, you do reach a contradiction because you have a system of two equations with, oh, now they're just doing their equations with unknown bullshit. Find another variable. Test for the other variable, okay? Don't do your fake math. Go get more information from the experiment. It's just so bad. Oh, I don't know if I want to read all this horse shit. Here's what happens if you assume that you could somehow have an inelastic collision without any loss of energy. Which of course you can, where you add together two objects. You would need to satisfy a system of two equations with only one unknown. So somehow the equation makes it impossible for you to gracefully combine two objects. They have to have some sort of issue where they don't want to combine. I mean, you could do this in space with water, right? You're really not going to find a way to, it's just, you're not going to find a way to take half the energy. I mean, half the energy is a gigantic amount of energy. The conservation of energy equation and conservation of momentum equation were only the velocity after addition of the two masses is unknown, x. Oh, yeah, just this is a waste of time. After solving, you get contradiction. According to CE, you get, yeah, we already know there's a contradiction. In order to reach a solution that is valid, you have to generalize the system and assume that after the collision, the two masses will have a different final velocity, A and B. We already know. We measured the velocities. Fuck you. How would you simply solve A and B and find... Okay, there's no point. This is just such mush. So show the experiment. Put the thermometer on the carts and prove that there's 2,000 joules of energy of heat. All right, your mental example assumes that there is a way to merge the two objects without losing any energy in the process. We're not talking about losing any energy. We're talking about thousands of joules in some cases. Thousands of joules of energy lost. In the case of the ballistic pendulum, you've lost 1,999 joules of energy and you've conserved 2. That's what you have to explain, okay, which should be impossible based on our current equation. So this is just a waste of time. These people are just so full of shit. All right, here's Bulbhead again. Voltage is more like force. Fuck you. Okay, now I could give you another lesson, but I mean you're just making shit up. All right, because you haven't thought about it, you haven't really got a model of anything. So I could tell you that this is the trick. This is why electricity doesn't move through wires at the speed of light. When they actually test it, it's like 3/4 or 60%. It's not really the speed of light. Because the fact is there's something real happening between the electrons. So we know the force moves the speed of light. So when I push on the electrons, so when the electrons push on each other, the energy that's pushing this whole distance here, that's the speed of light. But the little jitter the electron does, okay, it does a little tiny, so the electron moves this much. The distance between the electrons is this much. All right, so can you understand this is the speed of light, c, okay, and this is a much slower speed, like half the speed of light or a quarter of the speed of light or 1/10 of the speed of light, okay, depending on the voltage. So this little bit moves, the electron moves at a speed depending on how much pressure you put upon it. It moves quick or it moves slow. Quick, slow. The thing carrying that message is moving the speed of light. So most of the trip, okay, like 99%, okay, of the conveying of the pressure is at the speed of light. But 1%, okay, is at the speed of the electrons. All right. So that's a way to understand how, you know, the electricity doesn't move at the speed of light, because it's actually got to move the electrons. And the electrons don't have to move much to send their message, right? I mean, I don't have to move very fast, okay? Or I can move very fast, and you're still going to get my message very fast at the speed of light. So you're not going to get my message at the speed my hand's moving. You're going to get the message at the speed of light. Jesus. I mean, you people can't do any of this on your own. You can't think, you can't do nothing except not concede. And that's what you should do, Bill. I mean, if you want to have a single bit of integrity in my eyes, then just admit, well, yes, if the theory claims that it takes 25 times the fuel to spin a motor 5 times as fast, then it's not a good theory. There's something wrong. That's what you should be saying, and you won't say it because you're scum. You're lying, pathetic scum. All right, imagine you had a 10-ton train 5 miles an hour, and you want to split it into one 5-ton train going 10 and one stationary train. Yeah, well, that's the trick. You can't, just because you can't do something in reverse doesn't mean it isn't, the other thing didn't happen, okay? And the fact is you have to apply a force to split things apart. Things like to be stuck together. They like banging into each other. They don't like flying apart. Flying apart is anti-gravity. That requires work. There's no work for me to fall into the moon, right? I don't have to apply any energy at all. But if I want to get off the moon, I'm going to have to apply energy. So, I mean, you're just, all these games you people play, it's just so bullshit. To achieve this, there must be some mechanism that uses energy to stop the train. So, look, I went over this already, okay? So this is all old news. All right, well, let's just see what he says. Mechanism use the energy to stop the train and make the other one go faster. It can't happen simultaneously, right? Spontaneously. No, but let's say you had a pickup truck. And so you're driving the pickup truck and you bang it into a weight on a spring. So now it collects the weight and it's loaded a spring, okay? So it collected it this way. The truck collides into the weight, the spring bends, it collected the weight, and now it's spring loaded. And then all I have to do is rotate that, and now I can fling the weight off with the same energy I collected by hitting it. You get it? And when I fling that weight off, the truck will now go back to its original speed, and the object will go nothing. So it's like shooting a basketball. Look a basketball out of pickup truck. They've done this. They take a basketball and shoot it out of the back of a pickup truck and try to get the basketball to drop straight down. That is to give it zero energy. Yeah, so it's doable. Okay, so what happens to the energy when the opposite happens to the train? 5-ton train turn into blah, 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 blah. We get one answer. If we just go first case backwards, energy goes from kinetic energy to load the mechanism, compress a spring or something. Yeah, there. So what's the problem? In actual experiments, the answer is typically a function of heat. In actual experiments, you can't do some of these idealizations. So yes, in actual experiments, you can't put a bullet on one end of the lever and the gun recoil on the other. But the fact is, they are the same fucking thing. Okay. But I used examples with a train separating mechanism just to show that the kinetic energy must go somewhere. So you keep saying this nonsense. Well, that's true. The kinetic energy must go somewhere, but where's there evidence of it going anywhere? Otherwise, we should conclude that the 10-ton train going 5 could just magically turn into 2 5-ton trains without any energy cost. But that never happened. So what's the energy cost with my pickup truck example? What else can I say to you? I'm just saying, so you're just ignoring the facts to keep trying to contrive a defense for something that doesn't happen. It's just an absolute fact that the 5-ton train going 10 miles an hour can't crush anything more. It can't in any way demonstrate it has twice the energy. In any contest between a 10-ton train going 5 and a 5-ton train going 10, the 5-ton train will never win. It won't win a 3-legged race. It won't win a race. It won't win anything. It'll never win. I mean, obviously, it can go faster. But the point is, it won't win any contest that measures the true capacity to do work. The capacity to do work, it'll never win. And you're just such lying scum to pretend you have some evidence indicating otherwise. You have zero evidence. Zero, 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 zero. The Mythbusters couldn't find kinetic energy because it doesn't exist. Oh, fuck. All right, you're mischaracterizing the scientific argument. Liar, liar, liar. You are a liar. Okay. Lift. There's no such thing as lift. Okay, so lift is not a scientific term. So you can't even understand what science is. There's thrust. There's torque. There's no such thing as lift. All right. Is the correct context refers to a change in position. So again, yeah, and you have to have a force to do these things, and that's what we're talking about, the force required. All right, the force required to counter gravity and the force required to move something a certain distance are separate. No, they are not. Anyone who understands basic physics will be able to understand this. What you didn't say anything, and you certainly aren't going to link to any evidence. Despite your semantic straw manning. So, of course, no fucking straw mans at all. Fuck you in the ass till properly dead. I mean, god damn these people. Alright, so this is an old Professor Lewin video. Oh, that's on induction. So that's the silly 2 voltages in the same place nonsense. Okay, I watched the next moment about 9. Lewin writes the units as VSA. Okay, I'm not going to bother with that one. That one's so far off the current subject. Alright, so here's a big long pile of crap from this cockroach. So, I mean, look, you're the audience for these jackasses. Okay, this stupid cat guy and that stupid Simon Dan guy. You're the assholes who watch their fucking videos and you don't oblige them to be accountable for anything. Okay, they're just beating up cripples and you goddamn know it. Alright, and if anybody real shows up to challenge them, they run away like little Weasley cowards. You're the only people that can stop them from doing that shit by saying, we're not going to support you if you don't show any accountability. I mean, if you're just going to be an obvious duplicitous hypocrite and you do nothing, you've got on my channel and write all this shit. Write this shit on his channel, for fuck's sake. Alright. I was using light-hearted sarcasm. Well, fuck you in the ass. I really don't need any more of that, fuckface. Okay, when I said you needed to repent. Yeah, well, fuck you. You used religious terminology in the context that, frankly, I have done something wrong when clearly I haven't done anything wrong. Okay, I have nothing to repent for, fucker. Okay. The comment was, as you are a science denier and you need to repent. Yes, exactly. So why should I have any respect for that fucking bullshit? To be respected by the science followers. I don't want the respect of science followers. Where is that anything to do with this? I want to fight the leaders and prove they are wearing no clothes. They're naked emperors. And they have micro penises. Okay. I even capitalize science. Well, fuck, who cares with this nonsense? You know, I'm sorry. The people who sit there and play word games as part of their fun on the internet, I don't get it. I mean, everything. I've never typed a veiled comment. Say what's on your mind or shut the fuck up. Okay, I'm completely in agreement that blind obedience to the institutions of science is a bad thing. Well, where is it not exactly that? Where are any of these channels anything other than groupthink? Where's your demonstration of it? They just mock people, and they do a tiny bit of, defending of some sort of science principle. But it's a tiny percentage of what's going on. Let's see. And is the antithesis of the scientific method. Okay. As for my other comment regarding ChatGTP, so you conceded you don't know any of this subject, and as I pointed out in that comment, leave me the fuck alone, okay? If you don't know this subject matter, then you're just going to waste my time. I mean, you don't know what angular momentum is, and, I can't, how can I talk about carts not having all their energy as velocity? Some of it's hidden. I can't have the conversation if you don't know what these concepts are, can I? You got to be caught up, okay? If you're not caught up, it just fucks everything up. It's like these whole lever arguments, and we went over to the 3 kinds of levers, fulcrums in different locations, how it completely changes how the damn thing works. All right. I am trying to understand the definitions and was relaying why momentum and kinetic apparently aren't in conflict. There's no apparent. They're obviously in conflict is the point. See, how can you say something that apparently aren't in conflict when you can never transfer the energy from one different masses? You can never transfer the energy from one mass to a heavier or lighter mass without killing one of them. It's impossible with one another. You make good points. You even bring hypothetical experiments to the table and seem to make sense. But for me to be in complete agreement, I'm not asking for a complete agreement. And what was I asking for agreement with that was such a goddamn outrageous? Was that this needs to be investigated, that there's problems with this physics. This physics has dualities and it has paradoxes in it. You can't have paradoxes in your goddamn theory and then walk around saying I proved. With either side of this argument would hinge on me understanding the point both sides are trying to make. And the point I'm trying to make is they have zero evidence. Do you get that part? Can you understand the part where I'm saying for 300 years they're saying 4 pounds dropped 1 foot is the same as 1 pound dropped 4 feet, and they never even tested it? For fuck's sake. They're saying 25 times the fuel to move something 5 times faster. You can't understand that. Doesn't sound even close to being the truth. All right. The reason they say they don't conflict is apparently kinetic energy is acceleration, deceleration based on momentum. What? Based... And what acceleration, deceleration based on momentum is mass and speed based? What the fuck kind of nonsense is that? Speed isn't velocity. Oh, okay. Fuck you. I mean, too ridiculous. You're going to play word games like that when you've heard. How many times have you heard me say 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast? Now, why don't you just ask yourself, is there any way in this universe that you can think of any way that could possibly be true? And then recognize the fact that they can't show you anything close. Nothing. No evidence. You can't figure out their claim is flat earth stupid. They have zero evidence for a claim that bold. All right. They say acceleration in one object to the speed of 100 requires more kinetic energy than 100 objects to the speed of 1. I am listening. I am dabbling, nothing more. Well, I don't care. Just do it somewhere. I don't know. Why do you need to comment? Why are you commenting? Just listen then. Just watch if that's all you're good for. But don't bother me and type this crap on his channel. Challenge him. I'm not one of these science followers where you look just like one, you smell just like one, you type just like one, you comment just like one, who is going to appeal to authority and call you crazy. I found myself in the same, I don't care, regarding some claims made by these institutions which seems provably false. I don't care what your history is. I can't trust that you have any integrity in your claims. Not at all. I can't say, oh yeah, I totally feel your pain. Well, maybe I don't. Maybe you're just an idiot. Maybe you're a nut. Okay? But I know I'm not. I know I've done the work. Okay, I spent 10 years working at this, okay, watching hundreds of lectures, doing hundreds of hours of drawings, trying to figure it out. I've earned it, fuckers. Here is one example off the top of my head. Energy efficiency ratings involving air conditioning. Oh, fuck this. I mean, so first off, you'd have to say that somehow you trust these ratings, okay? And how can, comparing an air conditioner that does 30,000 BTUs to an air conditioner that does 10,000 BTUs? No, you can't do that. If you compare amperage and air temperature, so air temperature, how would that make any difference? It's not about air temperature, it's about total capacity to change. It's a rate. You're looking for the rate number. At what rate does it change the temperature of air of a certain humidity? To the old unit versus the new units, where their ratings completely fall apart when they claim the new ones are more energy efficient. So he doesn't think new air conditioners are more efficient. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's a hard argument to make. If you have ever taken an old air conditioner apart, it doesn't look like, okay, it's going to be all that efficient. Even the fans, I mean, come on. There are many lies, countless. Well, whatever. Yeah, I just don't feel your pain in that regard. All right, if energy doesn't exist as a function of mv squared, how do you explain the amount of fuel NASA uses when sending rockets into space? There's no problem accounting for it at all. Do you understand the rocket equation? So go look up rocket equation, and you'll see how it's not like fuel equals thrust. No, it's got a whole bunch of other crap in it. Okay, and what it's basically saying is your fuel gains octane as you gain velocity. So there's actually a Professor Lewin video where he's almost laughing while he's doing the video because he knows how crazy what he's saying is. But that's how it really, they won't state that there's huge efficiencies in getting through the gravity. So instead of saying, well, you're going through the gravity faster and faster, so there's less and less force, they'll say the octane of the fuel is increasing. So your fuel is becoming more and more powerful the further you go, the faster you go. And it's obviously ludicrous. But obviously a rocket has, technically the rockets we lift off have tons and tons of fuel. So if you're going to do any of this analysis, you have to do it with, say, something that had nuclear fuel. But you have to take fuel out of the equation because the equation is really just about the fact that your object you're moving is getting lighter and lighter. And so that's what's really fucking up the equation, is the fact that your thing you're sending into space is getting lighter. So just think of it as nuclear fuel. So it's only a few ounces. We're not talking about losing much fuel. And then do this analysis. And the point is that what you'll really find out is that your fuel doesn't gain more octane. What you do is defeat gravity by getting through it quicker. So fuck you. Okay, this is a basic question where the numbers won't match payload delivery. What numbers won't? Alright, so that's it. Okay, so that's it. I think good enough. I don't think there's anything lingering here that's worth the trouble. Metal box with 2 lengths of string. Yeah, well, whatever. We already did what you did in grammar school. Alright, so that's it. So I might deal with Gosling. I don't know if I will or won't. I mean, he's making such obvious mistakes, and you're just like, damn it. You should be way past making these obvious mistakes. I mean, it really is. They're still, they still can't measure 4 times the height right. They can't, they can't do anything on, sensible. I mean, you can just look at it and say, well, that can't be quite right. And, and it's not, of course. Alright, so anyway, till the next time and such, and so forth, and whatnot. I don't think there's anything, MB. Anyway, yeah, I think that's enough for this video. Okay, so till the next time. I don't even know if I'll make a 5 and a 6. is there any, like I said, until we get a physicist to be accountable, it's kind of all for naught. And I can't pay them to do it. I mean, what exactly do we have to do? I mean, how do we provoke this interaction that they keep running away from, and then the audience applauds their cowardice? It's just so bad. It's so pathetic. So how do we drive them, force them to play fair and show some integrity? I mean, I hate to increase the bounty. I mean, because you don't even know what you're going to get for your trouble, right? I mean, you could pay them the $4,000, and if the audience is all these morons, waste of money. I mean, there's no point, I guess, if the physicists themselves aren't going to be embarrassed to make arguments where they show no evidence, right? I mean, Simon Dan didn't do anything. He just said, fuck you, I have debunked you by saying nothing, right? So I made the gravity argument. He played it, and he didn't respond to it in any way whatsoever. He just said, fuck you, you can't disagree with us. And he got away with that. If they can get away with that, okay, then this won't get fixed for a long time. I guess that's the answer, right? It's not going to get fixed for a long time if they can get away with just saying, shut up, you're wrong.